Marhaba, and welcome to the Matrix Green Pill, where real people connect.
Hello and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. My name is Hilmarie Hutchison, and today I'm joined by two incredible guests. Allow me to introduce you to Maryam Yusuf and Mohammed Al Attar. Maryam is the founder and managing director of Pixel Digital Marketing, and also a co-founder along with Mohammed of Flashback Photo and Video Digitizing Services. I am so excited to be talking to both of you today. Maryam and Mohammed, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hilmarie, for having us. We're very excited about this as well.
So I know a little bit about both of you and your backgrounds, but for our audience who don't know you, could you please tell them a little bit about yourselves and your backgrounds?
Of course. Okay, so I'll start. So I'm Maryam. I'm actually from Bahrain. I've been in Dubai for over 20 years, 29 years old. I think you mentioned some of the things. So founder and managing director of Pixel, which I started when I was 22 years old in 2014. And Flashback, which started last year, actually, after the pandemic, so in 2020. Also a member and the communications chair of the Entrepreneurs Organization Accelerator Program in the UAE.
Fantastic. And how about you, Mohammed?
I don't hold as many titles yet. Currently just co-founder of Flashback Dubai and just start of many things, inshallah.
Fantastic. So, Maryam, you mentioned that you started Pixel when you were just 22 years old. How incredibly young. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course. So, I actually took up a lot of internships at university, the American University in Dubai, which is actually where I met Mohammed. So, throughout my time when I was studying, I was actually studying finance, but now, I'm in marketing. But I took up a lot of different internships. I interned with Citi, I interned with GE, and then I interned with Google. So while I was interning with Google, I had a lot of information there. I learned a lot of different things because we were a very small team. We were a team of 3 people for the marketing team. And just to give you some perspective, they're a team of about 28 or so for marketing. And we were basically looking after 18 countries at the time. So I got a lot of different exposure into digital marketing. I worked on both the B2B and the B2C side. So by the time I was done with my internship with them, I was basically ready to start right after graduating from university. I started alone, and today I'm happy to say that we're a team of 14 people at Pixel.
That is fantastic. But what was it that motivated you to start your entrepreneurial journey?
No, I think it was many things. Primarily, I noticed that there was a gap in the market. And, digital at the time was something that was, it was still in infant stages. So I noticed that there was definitely a gap in the market. I think I noticed that there was an opportunity and, I took it basically.
Excellent. Just like a true entrepreneur does, right? Notices a gap and makes the most of it. Now, Mohammed, if I'm not mistaken, you are part of the Young Arab Leaders Organization. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, of course, it's comprised of approximately a few thousand Arab nationals from across the Gulf and other countries along neighboring. And what it is essentially a pool of, entrepreneurs, working class men and women who all have something common and they want to grow, they want to succeed, they are ambitious. And at the same time, it provides us great opportunity networking because there's such a wide, diverse range of people from all industries and all fields you could think of, from aviation to agriculture. So it really is, it is exciting because just on the scroll, a click of a mouse, you can see anyone you want to just have a conversation with and ask them about their respective industry, or even if you have any ideas of starting something new for yourself, you can always just ask someone. So it's truly a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to continuing that journey and hopefully growing with them.
That sounds like a fantastic concept, something that really can nurture everybody within that community. That's excellent. So, Mohammed and Maryam, your business together is definitely a unique concept. And with everything going digital nowadays, as you mentioned, Maryam, it certainly does make sense. But what is it that inspired you to start Flashback?
Well, there was a few things, but one of the areas is that we've known each other now for approximately 11 years more.
So yeah.
Yeah, around 11 years. So since university, wow, time has flown. But so since then, we've always kept in touch, and we've always, we're on the same wavelength with a lot of things, such as future plans, goals, and the way we think in the workplace or just in general. Same interests as well. So when oftentimes conversations would come up about businesses and ideas, and one stuck, and the timing of that was hand in hand when the pandemic had actually started. So again, there was this gap in the market for a long time, and honestly, the pandemic being what it is, there's obviously it's saddening for a lot of situations. Industries facing tough times, people and all. But there is also a silver lining in a lot of things. There is opportunity. We've seen many companies and individuals take advantage of such opportunities for the better.
Sure.
And I'm proud to say that we as Flashback, me and Maryam and I, we managed to take advantage of the situation and start a business. And yeah, it's been going great so far. It's been a great journey from the start.
Fantastic. So can one of you unpack Flashback for us a bit? Tell our audience what Flashback is all about.
Okay, so Flashback is basically a photo and video digitizing service. So like Mohammed mentioned, during the lockdown, we were talking, and I think we noticed that essentially everyone has this box of photos or videos or whatever it is at home. And because we had so much time, being just at home and not able to kind of leave the house, we all started looking at these things. So some people started to like organize whatever they have at home and things like that. So
I started gardening.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So basically, a lot of people started taking up different interests and hobbies. But this box, especially in my house, it's just it was just there for a very long time. And honestly, Hillary, a lot of times, my mom would kind of like open up the box, take one album out, start skimming through it, and take a picture with her phone, and then send it on basically our family group. Right. And yeah, and a lot of the times these photos, they don't come out they're not clear, and you have this kind of like nasty glare of the flash that shows up on the photo when you take it with your phone. And you're also not really able to browse through your memories in an easy way. Right. So you have all these amazing memories, but they're kind of like either trapped in this box, or in the other case with our video digitizing service, they're trapped on the videotapes and you're not even able to play them or to view them. So we just thought that it would be great for us to not just help families in terms of digitizing their memories, but to make it easier for them to share their memories as well, and to preserve them forever, because a lot of the times with the photos and the videos, both of them degrade over time.
Absolutely. That is such a clever and as you said, something that was really needed, because as we all have that box with old photos we're going to get to one day, and we just never get there. So
how many boxes do you have, Hilmary?
You don't want to know. An absolutely brilliant solution to a real problem. I love it. Now, I know that you have an all-woman team behind the scenes doing the digitizing at Flashback. Why was that important for you guys?
One of the main reasons that was important was, of course, privacy. And in regards, so being an Arab and in an Arab community and Arab culture, Islamic culture, there is the sense of, so a lot of women tend to wear the hijab, so they would cover their hair.
Right.
And a lot of the time, other men cannot see their hair unless they're from the family of the woman, the husband or the brother in some cases, So, and a lot of these old photos, well, speaking on my family, for example, a lot of them, whether it's either my mother or her sisters, or there are events where it's a lot of these women and they're not wearing, whether it be a wedding or at home, just a casual home video. So this was a concern in the beginning, people wanted to know, like, oh, but my hair is showing in the photos. Is that like, I'm not okay with that. But then once we reiterated to them, like, this is an all-women team, it's for their eyes only and your eyes only. So, and it's not even like perusing through the photos. It's more of a operational element to it, just making sure everything's in the right place at the right time. So there's no one's just viewing them for all.
We wanted to make sure that it was basically done in a culturally appropriate manner, so that was one of the main things. And then, of course, it's important for us to also create jobs for women. I think that's also a really big thing, that we want to look into. Just in general, there is, obviously, it was International Women's Day last week. So obviously it's about also empowering women. It's about giving them job opportunities. And it's, of course, to make sure that we're doing everything in a culturally appropriate way for the reasons that Mohammed just mentioned.
That's excellent. You've really put some deep thought into the process that you use, and to make people feel comfortable with the whole process so that they're not going to be unsure about what's happening with their pictures behind the scenes. It's excellent. Maryam, can you tell us a little bit more about Pixel as well?
Sure. So with Pixel, obviously, one of the big things is that, we look to help businesses as well. One of the things that I noticed, this was the case pre-pandemic, obviously. We were always helping businesses in terms of generating more business for themselves. But also during the pandemic, we helped our clients or our partners not only to survive, but to thrive during that time. So it's all about, guiding other business owners, guiding businesses, making sure that they have the right digital strategy, and for us to essentially be their digital partners. That's the main thing that we like to focus on at Pixel. And we also noticed, a lot of the times we'd have some of our partners or clients coming in where they basically think that we don't believe in digital, that we've had a lot of bad experience, in the past with other digital agencies. Obviously, I'm not going to name them, but, they say that...
you can tell me later.
They say that they've had bad experiences. And, I always felt it's kind of like, someone coming out of a bad relationship and just thinking that all relationships are bad. So I always try to emphasize that that's not the case. Digital can really help you succeed as long as you find the right strategy behind what you're doing. And that's the main thing that we're looking to achieve with Pixel.
Excellent. And you mentioned that about what you're going to achieve with Pixel. What about Flashback? What is it that you hope to achieve with Flashback?
We just want to continue growing. We're excited with the business. We're excited about the success that it's having, and we're even more excited about more growth and more success to follow. It's more of a passion project. That's how the concept initially started. So the fact that it's fruition and is now live is more than happy to see that. I think Maryam has a few things as well she wants to see.
Of course, yeah. And like I mentioned to you earlier, Hilmary, it's about helping families preserve their memories at the end of the day. That is the main thing that we look to do. And that's why, we always encourage people that the sooner you do this, the better. We've had some times where people give us their tapes and, it's just the tapes are destroyed, they're in a really bad state. I remember that there was a customer once where her parents' wedding photos basically got completely destroyed in, I think their blood or something. Yeah. So we always try to push people to kind of do this early on. And the same thing with the videotapes, they degrade over time. So it's really about, preserving memories. And currently we're operating across the UAE. But of course, like Mohammed mentioned, we have plans for expansion, of course.
Just to touch up on what Maryam mentioned about, preserving memories and sharing amongst family. I think nowadays you see there's so much social media available to everyone, parents, even grandparents, all the way to grandchildren in this case. Personally, you'll see a lot of people in the same room, in the same house, all on their phones, not talking to each other. And they're just texting in the, they're in the family group, just chatting to each other, or just even on Instagram or whatever other platform they choose. So this also allows them to share and even spark a conversation. I mean, one of the most creative ideas we heard from some of our customers were they would even, because we provide a special flashback USB with everything on it, and they can view it on any device, more or less. So one of the creative solutions we heard was they put it on the TV.
Nice.
On the TV, they would just go through the videos, the photos, like a slideshow. And everyone puts the phone down. It's magical. Everyone's just on the same page watching it, reminiscing.
Yeah.
So and we got some really like heartwarming feedback. So it's really nice to see that. Like
Yeah, that's beautiful to
at
hear.
home when you see it with others. So it's great.
Yeah, and I think especially during the pandemic, the fact that people are able to share their photos with anyone in the world, obviously, I mean, the first thing we did when we started Flashback was we started to digitize all of our family memories. And, I started sharing some of the things with my family back in Bahrain, and just the reactions were amazing. It's just out of nowhere, basically sending something of an event that they were at 30 years ago. And I think that's amazing, just to kind of continue to build that connection with people across the world, whoever is in those photos. And obviously with the Flashback USB, it makes it a lot easier for anyone to share these things anytime.
Yeah, it makes it so much more accessible once you put it into that format. And as you say, now you can share it. It's not just sitting in a photo album in the bottom of a box.
You can have as many backups as you want, anywhere, everywhere.
That's absolutely a brilliant concept. Now, you often hear that young people are not taken that seriously, or they struggle being taken seriously in the business world. With you both being so young, especially you at 22, Maryam, did you face any prejudice from older people or other people in the industry as you were starting out?
Yeah, I mean, I was 22 and I started Pixel 7 years ago. Obviously, it was definitely a concern that I had. It was a concern, but one thing that I learned is, as long as you know your stuff, your work, whatever it is that you're doing, the industry, people won't really kind of look into age that much, I mean, especially when it comes to digital. Obviously you want someone that knows the industry inside out, someone that knows what they're talking about. So I think, the most important thing is that you know your craft, you know what you're getting into. And over time, people will respect that. I think more than anything else, they'll respect the knowledge and the information that you have, and, hopefully overlook the whole age thing.
Oh, that's actually heartwarming to hear that you did not find a particularly difficult struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was more of an internal struggle, I would say. More of an internal struggle, but this is why I always say it's important to have a really good support system around you. So just talking to like-minded people, or people that might have been through it before, that's of course where it's really important. Obviously there were some instances where, when it was a much smaller company where someone had issues. I remember someone having an issue with us not having a landline number on our website, and he just sent a very nasty email. I'll never forget that, but it's funny to look back now, because many companies are just putting their WhatsApp numbers instead and things like that. So yeah, there were definitely those issues at the beginning, but like I said, it's important to believe in what you do, and to surround yourself with people that will also help push you to get over those internal struggles, let's say.
Excellent. And what advice would you give to young people like you, who would want to start, or who want to embark on an entrepreneurial journey?
Honestly, I would tell them to go for it. Personally, after starting now, I wouldn't say regret, but if I could go back and just do something, I would do it. I would have done it earlier. I mean, but that's me and the excitement talking. But personally, I would say do it. If you have a good idea, you believe in it, you've gotten the right feedback, or even, devil's advocate, everyone has one or two or three or 20 of those friends. It's all about the feedback. And as Maryam said, as long as you know your stuff, the numbers are there, you're confident, and you have the idea there, you can do it. The hardest part for me personally was starting, but once you start, it's just you can't stop. It's there. It's out there.
100%. I completely agree with that as well. My advice is always just start, and to kind of just take things one step at a time. You don't need to think about how am I going to do everything at once, but just kind of think of what the next right step is, take it from there, and build it up over time. There's nothing will be perfect from day one. You need to basically start and build and optimize and improve over time.
I think that's fantastic advice to give to anybody, and it doesn't matter age. If you've got an idea, if you've got a passion, the best time to start was yesterday. So excellent
Yeah, I
advice.
love that.
So you've both been successful so far. Is there something or somebody maybe that you would attribute your success to?
Personally, I would say, well, touching on the notes we had just said earlier, family is always the number one supporter and the number one to point out any flaws, right? Because that's where the ideas are usually generated. You're at home, you're in a safe space, or whatever it is. So I'd like to really just thank family and Maryam as well, one of them who's just been supportive from the beginning as well. Also, myself for not quitting and just going through it, even though in the beginning it was scary until it started and then it wasn't. So, yeah. So, thanks to everyone.
So having a good support network is so crucial, right?
It's crucial, genuinely, and I'm seeing it now. Like every day there's something new, and that support network, it's so adaptive in any situation, no matter what comes up. You can always count on that support system.
Excellent. Now I know you two. You've mentioned it a few times. You've known each other a long time. You met at university, and you've worked together so closely now. So what are some of the things that you've learned from each other?
I would say,
Be gentle. Be gentle.
I would say one of the biggest things is everyone has their own strengths, I think, and this is something I see in general. Anyone that I work with, everyone has their own strengths, and I think it's really important, especially if you're working very closely with someone, to really understand that person, understand their strengths, what they can bring to the table, and how you can kind of complement each other. So what are the things that different people can basically bring to the table? So I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is to just don't underestimate people and see what they're able to do, basically, and what's the best way for you to work together. Know each other's strengths, know each other's weaknesses as well. More importantly, know your own weaknesses. Don't have any issues with communicating what your weaknesses are to the other person, and because you never know, that person might be able to help you out.
Honestly, I mean, trust is the biggest thing. I think it's literally the foundation. Is that if you can't trust each other, then everything gets cast into doubt. And alhamdulillah, I can proudly say that I trust Maryam with everything, and we've been going great so far and looking forward to many more things to come.
Excellent. You make some excellent points, especially Maryam, when you said it's a collaboration. It's not a competition. Working together, you need to work to each other's strengths, so that where the one is weak, the other one hopefully is strong. So that's very good.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, and communication at the end of the day, I think it's really important. Communicating any concerns,
Support.
support in general.
Support in general.
Yeah.
Just keeping communication open.
That's lovely. So what were some of the challenges that you both have experienced in your journey so far?
Of course, there was the early teething problems, like with all businesses has. I'm sure Maryam has many stories she can share from Pixel. But from the flashback side, it's just the teething in the beginning. There were permits and paperwork, and even operationally, until we got things running smoothly, every little thing seemed like the end of the world. So, and again, on those points, communication and support system, it was important to reassure the other, mostly me, that the world is not burning when the smallest thing goes wrong. So, alhamdulillah, it's great. It's going good so far. And again, every day something new always comes, which is exciting. The important thing is we keep learning from every day what happens.
Right.
I can't, of course, go into details about what some of the issues might be, but it's usually more along the lines of just processes and procedures. Because we keep trying to optimize and make things smoother and better for the customer and for our team.
Yeah.
And the saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right.
So yeah, that's when you're constantly striving for growth and improvement, it's hard to know when to say, okay, things are going well now, just chill out. Let's go, let's take it from here.
Yeah, I think in terms of both Flashback and Pixel. So with Flashback, mostly teething operational things. It's things that happen in general at the beginning of a business. And with Pixel specifically, I would say something that was and continues to be a challenge, and I think any entrepreneur can agree with this, is resources. Basically, finding the right resources, finding the right people, because at the end of the day, with Pixel, we're working. Our resources are our people. We don't have there aren't really products or anything like that, so it's about, we really need to make sure that we find the right people, that they're able to basically reflect on or show what the company is all about whenever there's any contact with a client. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me. And obviously, just based on talking to other entrepreneurs and business owners, this is an ongoing challenge, but especially at the beginning, it was very challenging. And for me, starting off on my own, where I knew everything that was happening, right? Everything was kind of under my control. And I would know if there was any issues or anything. So with the growth, that challenge definitely became bigger over time.
You're right. Having the right people and having the right resources in place is a challenge.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would agree with you, Mohammed, that there's a lot of nitty gritty, a lot of things goes behind the scenes in setting up and running a business. It's not just the fun front end that everyone sees, but it's all those snags and things that happen that you need, as you said, permits and licensing and taxes and all sorts of things that people don't actually realize goes on behind the scenes in running a business.
Yeah.
So after such an incredible journey that you've had so far, can you tell us a little bit about your plans for the future? Are you working on any exciting or any new projects?
There's been some brainstorming. I don't want to give too much away. From my side, definitely I would like to continue looking at things in the digital space. But yeah, there's been some conversations, bouncing some ideas back and forth, but nothing that I'm ready to share just yet. Yeah.
It's concepts are cool until you put them on paper and see what really sticks and what doesn't. But yeah, like Maryam said, we've just been casually brainstorming ideas.
So for now, your focus is on growing Flashback.
Yeah, we're focusing on Flashback right now, and I'm sure Maryam also is focusing a lot on Pixel too. But for the future, who knows? But we don't want to. We work well together, and we'd like to continue working together, maybe in other fields or anything. Who knows? Again, all is just brainstorming, but hopefully you'll be the first to know if anything does come.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. I'm excited to hear of anything new on the horizon for you guys. So now we've come to an exciting segment of our show where I'll ask you a few rapid fire questions. So the first thing that pops into your head. Let's start with you, Maryam. Favorite coffee shop?
Come on, you drink a lot of coffee.
I'm honestly, the first thing that came to my mind is my brother's tent. my brother, honestly, Homer, my brother has this little tent at home, so it's kind of like,
extension.
Yeah, it's an extension of the house. He calls it the tent. It's an extension that he built basically for his friends to come over and stuff. And obviously, it's a little bit of his man cave, but I love going there, honestly, and just when I'm allowed to, obviously, and just having. That's like that was the first thing that came to my mind when you said coffee shop. So I'm sticking with my answer. I'm confident of it. So I'm sticking with my answer.
Okay, very good. And Mohammed, video or photo?
Video.
Very good. Maryam, sunrise or sunset?
Sunset, 100%.
Mohammed, one thing on your bucket list?
Travel around the world.
Oh, yes, that's a very good one to have. And for both of you, what is one thing that you do every day, no matter how busy you are? You don't get enough of that, right?
One thing every day, no matter how busy.
Stay in touch with family for me. Yeah, it's
family is people like it's often taken for granted.
Yeah.
But especially nowadays, I think, speaking personally, all this pandemic, everything that's been going on, I've connected a lot more to family. Not just because we were all forced to stay home together, but in the sense that there is a stronger bond now. Because of technology and social media and everything, people tend to get further apart because of the discommunication. But now it's worked out this way. So, like Maryam said, family time is always important every day. Support systems, right?
Very good. Well, thank you both for playing along. That was fun. So now, before we wrap up, we would like to do our green pill moment. So you can choose who'll go first on this one, but what green pill advice would you give to your younger self?
Should I go first?
Yeah, go,
Okay.
ladies first.
I think for me, it's calm down, basically. Calm down. Everything will be fine. Everything will work out. And to kind of take it easy and take it easy on yourself, basically. I think that's definitely something I would tell my younger self. I would tell my current self as well, the same thing. Yeah, the same thing, because sometimes you get really wrapped up in your work and whatever it is that you're doing, that you forget to give yourself a little bit of attention and love that I think is really important to do. So yeah, I would just say, calm down and take it easy and everything will work out.
That's good advice. Hakuna Matata, yes. And how about you, Mohammed?
I think it would be along the same lines. I mean, looking back in hindsight, there's so many things we can tell our younger selves if we could, for example, buy this stock, buy that stock. But personally, it would be just slow down. There's literally no need to rush. Just on life plans, everything will come when it is supposed to come. But the most important thing is just start, like we said in the beginning, starting is the hardest part. So once you start, everything just flows from there. It's like going to the gym. The hardest part is starting. But once you start, you get in the habit.
Yeah, and I think this pandemic really kind of forced everyone to slow down a little bit. So, hopefully everyone was able to just pick up something from that it's important to slow down every once in a while.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for being here today and for sharing your very personal and incredible journey with us. I'm sure our audience will enjoy this conversation as much as
thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Now, before we say our final goodbyes, could you please share with us your social media handles?
Absolutely. So for Flashback, it's on Instagram at flashback.dxb, and for Pixel, it's at Pixel Dubai across all platforms.
Thank you again so much for being here. I wish you both the very, very best.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.